Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Joanne Smedley, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant David Llewellyn. We warmly welcome the family of Lieutenant Alan McGuire Harris, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in the singing of the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Alan McGuire Harris. Alan Harris was born on the 29th of August 1915 in Launceston, Tasmania, the only son of Alan and Agnes Harris. Young Alan began work as a farm apprentice at Sheffield, but soon left for Queensland. Over the next 5 years, he travelled through Western and Northern Queensland, Arnhem Land, Darwin, the Torres Strait, and Batavia. He returned to Tasmania in 1937 and began work in the electrical branch of the Mount Lyell Company at Queenstown whilst attending technical school. Harris was intending to travel to South Africa when he had finished his trade certificate, but these plans were put on hold by the advent of the Second World War. The Harris family had a proud history of service, with the first recorded commission in the family occurring in 1760. Family members noted that they had served the Crown without a break since 1811. Alan Harris duly enlisted on the 20th of October 1939. With his recent trade experience, he was soon taken on strength of the Signal Corps. They were responsible for installing, maintaining and operating all types of telecommunications equipment and information systems. Harris showed leadership potential and received steady promotions during his service. From a position as a linesman to Lance Corporal in early June of 1940, Corporal later that same month, Lance Sergeant in August, and Sergeant in June 1941. He embarked for overseas service on the 1st of October 1940, landing in Palestine in early November. Harris would go on to serve in the First Libyan campaign in Greece and in Syria. In January 1942, he left the Middle East, landing in Adelaide in late March. In May, he was granted a commission and given the rank of lieutenant. By May 1943, Harris was attending officer training school at Bonegilla in northeast Victoria. On the evening of the 9th of May, he was aboard a bus carrying 34 military personnel that was hit by a train at a road crossing near Wodonga. 25 people were killed in the accident, including Harris, who suffered major head and chest injuries, which proved to be mortal. An inquest into the accident found that the railway crossing was unattended and the bus had no warning of the approaching train. Those who died in the accident were buried with military honours in the Albury War Cemetery. Relatives from 4 states arrived for the funeral and businesses closed during the ceremony. As 4 trucks carrying caskets proceeded from Bonegilla through Wodonga and Albury to meet 125 pallbearers. Newspapers reported the day as being a gloomy one in the district's history, noting that no fatality of comparable magnitude ever previously occurred in the district. Lieutenant Alan McGuire Harris and those 23 military personnel who died as a result of the accident are listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Alan McGuire Harris, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a pleasant evening.